start gotta end. So don't waste time, get it in. Why wait? Say it tomorrow, but you got today. Put them excuses away. Pick up the pace. If you really want it, then you gotta chase. Hey, I need a whole lot of space, make some room. I gotta prove that I'm nothing like you. And I'ma do it. If it's in the way, then we going through it. Like a Peloton, gotta keep it moving. Talk is too cheap, you just gotta do it. You ain't gotta like it cause it's stats approved. Only one way. Gotta bring it straight to their face. Ain't nobody safe. Plus it's only one first place. Know what that means? This ain't a fight, it's a war. We focus on up in the score. If you think you better than battle. If you really with it, then battle. Just battle. If you think you better than battle.
Let's get it.
Only first place finishes, so I seek and destroy every one of my nemesis. My power limitless, and my scorecard is perfect, it don't have no blemishes. No apologies, cause I ain't ya, it's just my nature that makes me a different type of creature. I'm a bitcher, bonafide gamer. Before you play me, better read the disclaimer. I'm that force to be reckoned with. I know your mama didn't warn you, you shouldn't be messing with. You don't compare to me. We're not the same, there's no similarity. Moment of clarity, you should be scared of me. Run all, you'll never get rid of me. So incredibly outdone. If we go to war, I'm the one you can't outrun.
Only one way. Gotta bring it straight to their face. Ain't nobody safe. Plus it's only one first place. Know what that means? This ain't a fight, it's a war. We focus on up in the score. If you think you better than battle. If you really with it, then battle. Just battle. If you think you better than battle. Just battle. If you really with it, then battle. Just battle. If you think you better than battle me. When it's time to ball. We back in the field. We ready, it's time. It's nothing but hustle inside of the huddle. You know that I grind. A dangerous mind, a weapon of choice when pushing the line. Go overtime and I won't break when it's crunch time. My end game is number one. Bet it all, give me my cash. Supreme game, can't stop it. Take off like a rocket. Break it back, don't bend mine. I'm the one now, you can't hide. Legendary like legacy. This is our moment, our time. This is our moment. This is our time. Time is now. It's time to rise. This is our moment. This is our time. The time is now. It's time to rise. Yeah. Coming for glory. We ready for war. The city's behind us. We giving you more. We ready whenever. The world is watching. The time is now. No other option. No other way. Play to win the way that we play. Destined for greatness, born to be great, ahead of the game. In front of the pack, leading the way, it's time to reign. The kingdom's here, this is our year. Been to the bottom, ain't nothing to fear, we running the game. Rushing the field for every yard, on every play. Nobody's safe, rise when we fall, but never stay down. The champs is here, doing it for the 10. This is our moment, yeah. our time. Feeding the dirt. Nose to the grind. Like the crack of dawn. You can't stop the shine. Moment after moment. Day after day. It's our time. Lock and loaded, it's time for war. Ha. Tear down, kick in the door. Yeah, I want it all, give me some more. Ha. I want it all, give me some more. I want it all, give me some more. Yeah. Kill 'em all, it's time for war. It's time for war. Like pandemonium, I set it off. Yeah. Sacrifice, I bear the cross. Legendary, I'm a big dog. Hard knock on the front line. Pure blood, my bloodline. Headshots the first time. My aim good, bullseye. Warfare. Don't play fair, don't play fair. You not sure? Don't go there, I'm right here. Yeah. No fear, I'm ready to go at top speed. No brick wall can block me. No army can stop me. Yeah, I want it all and I can't lose. I came far and I won't stop. This my time, I pay dues. Yeah, it's war time and I won't retreat. I want it all, give me some more. I kill them all, won't taste defeat. Nah. Now bow down at the king's feet. It's time for war. I want it all, give me some more. Kill 'em all, it's time for war. Kill 'em all, it's time for war. It's time for war.
Heats up. We're now ready for the round of 8. 4 drivers have been eliminated. There's only 8 drivers that are left. Whoever wins tonight's race, if they're one of the playoff contenders, can punch their ticket in to the Championship 4 finale at Homestead. Terry, I'm ignoring you. I know. I'm an Alabama fan. Roll Tide. Always have. Always will. But I got to give props to your volunteers, okay? Welcome to the dark side. That's all I got to say.
Rocky Top, you'll always be.
I knew I had this coming. I'm sorry. I knew I did.
Well, it was either going to be Thursday night. I just so happened to get the ring-a-dang-dang from old Charles Wooten that said, "Hey, dog, you want to come call a show?" And I'm like, with Wesley? Potentially with Wesley? Alabama fan himself? I got to. But wait a minute. Let me put that bad boy up behind me. So, let it just ease on in. I got the nails painted. Got the hat on. I got the shirt on. But I'll do you one better. You ready? Just like what 100
Can you read between the fingers, brother? Can you
just
read
like
between the fingers,
102,000 screaming Tennessee Volunteers did. We're gonna tear the goalpost down, baby. Woo! Go Vols!
Well, in that case, I mean, we're all in this together, right? I mean, come on, we're in this together, brother. Come on.
We'll wear
All
it
right.
like the flag, whatever.
Well, I'm not putting my green screen wrapped around me, okay? That just ain't going to look right. It's all going to disappear. Terry, all right, all right. We're letting
We'll
you have
call
your
the
fun.
race.
Congratulations to the volunteers, okay? I'm a Alabama fan, but I am a
Roll Eagle.
not conceited, stuck up. What did you say? War Eagle?
Roll Eagle. Just all the Bama
Roll-
teams all together. Roll Eagle.
Roll Eagle. Well, what is touching me back here? I'm gonna hang you back
It's
up
your
in a
green
minute.
screen.
I forgot about it.
We have gone clearly off the rails. We're not even 2 minutes into this show.
We're ready to go here in Vegas. Obviously, we were going to let Charles is going to let what's his face have his fun. Congratulations to the volunteers. I am a humble Alabama fan, but I am I'll lose with gratitude and humbleness, and I will say congratulations to Tennessee. They did. So let's get back to racing, though. Now we got the playoffs. Obviously, Terry, you don't want to lose. You want to win. And if you're one of the 8 drivers that are in the playoffs, if you win tonight, you go to Homestead, Miami, and you race for a championship. Your thoughts?
And it's absolutely correct. And you got to think Las Vegas in these Cup cars, the next gen is the great unknown. I mean, this is the second trip to Las Vegas for these drivers, so they kind of understand a little something about what's going on. But the thing is these cars have changed. The evolution, the updates to these cars have changed throughout the time. I love this. This is such a multitasker, and this is why this is good. But you think about this. You look at Jeff Stabnow. He pulls off the win at Kentucky. The walk-off win there, he does it. You come to a track like Las Vegas that kind of reminds me of a Kentucky. Similarly banked. The infield, the front stretch kind of looks the same with the dog leg there. He sits P2 in qualifying at the moment. So you think about that. The 24 machine is the one we really need to look out for here.
Yes. And I said off air, Jeff Stabnow carrying momentum. He's pumped up. He's excited. He won the last race, of course, at Kentucky to punch his ticket in to the championship round of 8. Yep. He's had a dismal year, back in victory lane, ends a 2.5-year drought not winning, goes to the run for a championship, carry that momentum into tonight's race here at Vegas.
It doesn't matter what you do in the regular season, as long as you make the ticket to the dance. And then if you get hot at the right time, like Jeff Stabnow is right now, you show up and party when you show up to party. It doesn't matter if you're later on time. If you come in big and hot, you're coming in big and hot.
That's right. Coming in hot. We going trackside when we return. We're live, by the way, on iRacing on LSRTV and the Community Radio Network. And if you didn't know who the hell we are, I'm Wesley Outland. Terry Radford. There he is. Okay, there we go. Terry Radford tearing down flags, mocking goalposts being tore down. Charles Wooten in the background. He's trying to make everything be sane and what's already become unglued in less than 5 minutes. We're stepping away. We're going on track at Vegas. Round of 8 championship. When we return, Community Radio Network and iRacing on LSRTV. Stay with us.
Your CRN, my CRN, our CRN. We are CRN. The Community Radio Network now and the new WCRN 87.9 FM. And still always anywhere worldwide at wearecrn.com. We are CRN. Welcome to the Community Radio Network. Follow us always via social media on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at CRN Sports. Plus, listen to the new CRN 87.9 and still anywhere worldwide at wearecrn.com. We are CRN.
This is our series.
So many different pieces that you have to watch out for.
Where the stakes are always higher.
$300,000.
Where virtual meets reality.
How bad do you want it? They're wasting no time getting at it.
Where the best thrive and the flawless win. This is the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series.
broadcast personality Wesley Outlet up topside at one of the great racetracks of the world, the Caraway Speedway. And I'd like to remind you to join us every Wednesday afternoon at 1 p.m. Eastern to 3 p.m. Eastern with coverage of Finish Line, where we talk to everybody from NASCAR to grassroots, like right here at Caraway Speedway. Carolina's Fox Sports Radio affiliates, iHeartRadio, and on the Community Radio Network at 87.5 FM. And remember, thanks to Live Sim Racing Productions, you can actually see the guest panel. Ask their questions, get interactive with us with comments, and so much more in our chat box. Finish Line every Wednesday. Join us every week. Welcome back to coverage of iRacing on LSRTV, CRN. We are ready to go. Here is the playoff picture as we go into this race, and they have already gridded the cars. Let's give you the starting lineup here tonight at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. 200 miles, 134 laps. A little bit of music in the background, please. On the pole, look at Sean Breitzman, Dan West Jr., drivers on the front row. Team LSRTV CRN, row number 1. Row number 2, we'll find Jeff Stabnow. You go, of course, me and Terry mentioned him. He's on Momentum Train in 3rd. Brian Reynolds also the 12 to the outside, row 1, 2. Row 3, Troy Daggett, the 99. Cole Raz, one of those drivers that has missed a couple of weeks. He's just been a dominator this year. He'll be in the number 10 car starting 6th. Row number 4, we'll find Brett Johnson of the 7, Chad Malick in the 06. Top 10, we'll throw it to Terry. Row number 5, Ryan Bloom and Caden Anderson, ready from Yakima, Washington, here at Vegas.
You go back here and look at row 6. You got Lake Peterson and Jaden Ledbetter. Row 7, we see Chris White and Brian Barnes. Carl Burt and James Vining rounds out row 8. Stephen O'Hare and always the most interesting picture there, Aaron Cooper. Rounding out your top 20, Chris Camary. That's Stephen Paulison.
Row 11, John Ottenbacher, Kevin Smith. Row number 12, we'll find Gary Nichols in the 8, Frank Harris in the number 11. Row 13, Casey Garber, BJ Tittrick, 9472. Row 14, by himself, Toby Ritters. He'll start 27. 27 cars ready to go, 200 miles, 134 laps. After a nice week off, it is back to the grind, and the championship will be decided. Look from this camera angle off of turn number 4 below the start-finish line in the tri-oval, and here come the Warlords, a virtual go fast, ready. 27 of them in the kaleidoscope of colors, ready for that pace car to drop down onto the pit lane. Here they come inside the Geico restart zone for the initial start of the race. The round of 8 for championship underway. Green flag. What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, even virtual, except if you win, Terry, you move on to a run for a championship at Homestead, and they go to green with Breitzman to the lead on the bottom out of 2.
There's a couple things you can technically keep when you leave Vegas, and a race win's definitely one of them. I can promise you that one. There's a couple winnings you can earn outside of there. You maybe go hit lucky number 7, maybe roll a perfect game somewhere. But Breitzman to that outside right there, he's moving, he's turning. Dan West Jr. to the outside, Breitzman on the bottom. That outside's going to be the momentum train here in these next-gen cars, only for a couple laps before the tires start to wear in.
Yeah, back straightaway they go now into that 3rd turn, and Dan West Jr. up on the outside lane. Breitzman hugging the bottom, and there is Stabnow. That is, by the way, Team LSRTV CRN right there, the top 3 cars in that tandem pack as they work across the start-finish line. Look at that one. I love this camera angle from the start-finish line. And they roared speed. Look at them going 3 wide up into turn number 1. Terry for the lead. Breitzman now under attack is West for Stabnow looking for 2nd.
Yeah, I think the biggest key to this race is saving your tires, managing the run, managing the momentum, not being overly aggressive throughout this race. You look at Stabnow right there. He went from the bottom to the outside. He'll carry that momentum off of turn number 4. He'll go side by side with Sean Breitzman. Breitzman on the bottom, Stabnow to the top, lead that lap for the 24 of Jeff Stabnow, and he set what was the fastest lap of the race at that time, and then Troy Daggett puts a 30.46 on the board and puts him the fastest driver so far in 4 laps down the back.
Well, it's also that we got these camera angles that come to speed going into turn number 3 and out of 4. Getting things started in Vegas. Let's rest our voice and let you feel the roar here in Vegas, presented by LSRTV. And the field roaring, working back to the start-finish line of the turn number 1 and 2. Hope you enjoyed that. Feel the roar from Las Vegas in the early going. Sean Brightsman, Dan West Jr., Jeff Stabnow, Reynolds, and Daggett right now your top 5. And for the most part now, Terry, they've kind of settled down. At least the top 3 have. Single file, nose to tail, working off the corner out of 4, working on lap number 7, completed this time by.
And you see the top 3 have broken away. Team LSRTV, CRN. Not really trying to put a battle up on it. And as I say that, you see that 55 goes down to the bottom of Dan West Jr. He tried to challenge Brightsman, and Stabnow went to the outside. But you see him working 3 distinctive grooves, and they're still pulling Brian Reynolds here. So he's sitting in 4th, 0.6 of a second back. And then you put Troy Daggett there in that conversation. And these are the 3 fastest drivers on the racing surface at the moment. And it's no surprise that they're rolling on along in a train. Team orders, I would hope, that says, hey, we can control this race if we just stay where we're sitting.
It is Sean Brightsman, the leader. Down to the bottom is, of course, Dan West Jr. That's the blue and white car. The teal and black car, 46 up in front. The red, black, and white, number 24. That's the LSRTV CRN 4K4 to Billings, Montana, Jeff Stabnow. Winner at Kentucky the last time we were on the air. He broke a 2.5-year losing streak, winning streak, and went back to victory lane. And now he has punched himself in with that win to not only the championship 8 round that starts tonight here at Vegas, but obviously everything resets points-wise. And if you remember, the next caution, or when we get a caution for the race, we showed you a little quick glimpse of the championship points, obviously. But if we get a caution, or if we do, we will show you that points picture, because obviously, Terry, everything reset with just stage wins, or obviously the wins throughout the season were taken away, and it was just basically points throughout the year that has broken down now who the champion is here in this round of 8. The leaders work off of turn number 4 with Brightsman, West, Stabnow. Daggett looks strong. So does Bloom. They're single file going back to turn number 1 there, Terry.
Yeah, and I want to pinpoint a guy back there in 9th place, Chris Camari. I mean, he's up 10 positions this early in the run. And while I do think that he's very strong, I would caution him a little bit to kind of relax. You gained your positions early. You rode that outside lane. Now let the tires cool down. Let them just do their thing. When you're behind drivers in these next-gen cars, there's smoke up in front of him, car gets loose. Luckily didn't bring out the yellow flag, but when you're behind a car here, you tend to burn the right front tire of this car up a whole lot more than you did in the previous years, or like you would have in the trucks or the Xfinity cars. So it's going to be a little bit more difficult to drive through this field and kind of make a consistent run at it. But this guy right here, I think if we bring this field back together, we might be circling him at the end.
Kamari working his way off the corner out of turn number 4, the 1-5 Studios Toyota. Surly right now sitting in the number 8 position on racetrack as the leaders go back into the corner. 200 mile, wow, got a problem. Troy Daggett on the pit lane in the 99 in the early go, and his Camaro in trouble there, Terry.
Yeah, it looks like he caught the wall at some point in time. That might have been the smoke that we had seen, and I think he made his pit box, but barely gets it in, gets the back tires. I know he didn't make it. He was too far back. He was still partially in the back pit stall. But the 99 of Troy Daggett was one of the faster drivers on this circuit, and he, at one point in time, had the fastest lap time amongst everybody else. But now he finds himself on pit road. He sits 27th. He's one lap down. By the way, Stephen O'Hare started this race on pit lane, I do believe, and, well, he got off right before they got the green flag, and now he's rolling around here 15 seconds back.
Dan West Jr., Jeff Stabdow, Sean Brightsman. Look at now, Jeff's. This is Kevin Smith, Cole Raz going at it. This is inside the top 15 as they work their way back off into the corner. Turn 2 down the Nellis straightaway here in the back stretch here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. 16 of 134 laps the distance, 200 miles in this race. And obviously, if you are one of the drivers, remember, that have the yellow window visor and the yellow spoiler on the back of the rear end of their car, they will advance. If they win, Terry, you automatically go to Homestead to race for the championship.
And that's going to be crucial. That's also going to go into what they do strategy-wise. If you're the 00 right here, you're sitting all the way back in the 14th position. So Kevin Smith not having the run early that he wants. But the good part about this is there's stages here. You have 2 stages to obviously see what you can make up. Well, it's short stints to get to that stage. And then you also know that, well, you could potentially have green flag pit stops. This race is going to string itself out. You're going to be seconds and miles apart from one another to give you an opportunity to see what your car can do in traffic, in clean air, and to make your adjustments of how you drive this car just a little bit easier on these drivers.
200 miles, 134 laps. Lap 67 will be halfway as this battle continues here. John Audenbacher, Daytona Truck winner, closing in on this mix with Cole Raz, Kevin Smith, Caden Anderson. Big gaggle of traffic under attack here, going at it for spots. We got trouble. Audenbacher got turned. Troy Daggett's got a problem spinning into the pit lane. He spins on pit road, locks up the tires. But we got a bigger problem on the back straightaway. Big trouble on the back straightaway as Audenbacher was the car that slammed into the wall. I don't know why we're showing the 99. There is more problems on the back stretch, and the caution is out. Look on the replay here. As we mentioned there, Terry Radford, there was a storm brewing, and it literally just exploded off of the second turn on lap number 20 here at Vegas.
You see right here that Audenbacher was up on the outside there, and he just lost it. Just absolutely lost it off the exit of the corner, and I don't know what the track temp sits here, but that was a tough hit. He didn't have to tow. He rolled it on and continued to back up and make his way around. The damage does not look too severe for the 89 machine, but holy
no, he got
mackerel.
lucky.
Very lucky. That's tire starting to wear in. That outside groove not really rubbered up. It's very slick up there. A lot of marbles carried over from practice and qualifying up to that outside, and he might have caught one of them, and it upset that car big time.
Here's a look at it again on the replay there, and now we see pit stops as Daggett's on pit road. Everybody coming down to the pit lane, 20 laps in. And you said, Terry, as look at Dan West Jr., Sean Brightsman, little late coming out of his pit stall. Jeff Stabnow will come out second behind teammate Dan West Jr., 20 laps in. And as you said, we didn't really talk about the weather conditions or discuss about what was the points for the championship. So while we're under caution, let's do just that. Bottom right of the monitor, let's show you the weather conditions here today at Las Vegas. This is a daytime event. And there you see it right there, Terry Radford. Obviously 67 degrees, ambient temperature outside, virtual air, wind speed at 8 miles an hour, track temperature on the sim, 72 degrees. And I mean, that's cool conditions. It's not like steaming hot like we've seen at other places, obviously, Terry. But I mean, it's cool enough to make it where it's going to take time for those tires to get warm up. And then when they do, obviously, we saw the handling happen on people's cars like Odenbacher and others.
We got to look at the wind speed as well. You've seen air across the NASCAR Cup Series where if you get wind anywhere near the double digits, it really affects what this does. If you see cars, if the 55 and the 24 go into the corner and the 24 goes from the bottom to the middle and then Dan West Jr. goes to block him, that air completely shifts what Jeff Stabnow is going to do. It's going to push him tight. It's going to make him push up the track, or it's going to really upset the balance of the car to make it want to snap just a little bit. I wouldn't necessarily think that the track temp itself would be the reason and the cause for that. I would imagine that the wind speed and the instant shift that he had to make on the throttle with other cars changing the air and the balance of his race car around him is what caused that spin there for the 89.
Let's take a look at the point standings, obviously, in the Run for a Championship. And obviously, there you see him, Lake Peterson, 4-point lead over Cole Rass. Remember, none of the playoff wins or none of the regular season wins resetted. Basically, the points reset as they would be for a regular championship. Now, the first round of the playoffs, they did take in consideration the wins during the season, but not now. You see that literally almost, look at this, for the 8 drivers, even kill, even Steven, for everyone, you drop back to 4, you drop back to a point from that, which would be 6 points for the championship, or 5 points for the championship, and then another 7 points. And you look at this, honestly, Terry, everybody's even Steven. You're in 8th. You're Briar Reynolds. You're in the top 5. You're number 8 seed. You have a good race, man. You got a chance to race for a championship and even close in on the points leader, Lake Peterson.
Well, and if this obviously isn't live for the fans at home, if you're looking at the live points just off the top of my dome piece, well, Dan West Jr. jumps up in Lake Peterson's spot. And, well, Dan West Jr., or Jeff Stabnow, he's easily 9 positions ahead of Lake Peterson, so that puts him up there. Cole Rads is not having a very good race. He's back there in 12th, 1 spot behind Lake Peterson. So this would be Dan West Jr., Jeff Stabnow, 1-2 in these points as we currently sit. And while this can change, it's a pretty damn good run right now for the top 2.
It is. And we get ready now for the restart. Lights are off on the pace car as the field will make their way back to the Geico restart zone for our first restart of the race. Let's set up your top 5. Dan West Jr., Jeff Stabnow after the pit stops. Sean Brightsman third, the pole car. Falling back 2 spots. Ryan Bloom up 5 to 4th. And Briar Reynolds falling back 1 spot now in 5th. Green flag goes back in the air. The field flashes under the flag stand here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. It's West. It's Stabnow. Brightsman down to the bottom. He'll battle Bloom and Reynolds. And we're back underway on lap number 24 here at Vegas.
What a restart for Dan West Jr. as he got the instant launch. I'm kind of curious if he restarted in 1st or if he restarted in 2nd. It's kind of been a theme throughout the week on the iRacing service, and it was a theme in the Cup race yesterday. That first gear was not necessarily the one you wanted to reach for whenever you were going for the restart. 2nd was what you coasted or in. So I'd be curious because that was a really good launch. Maybe team orders to let his teammate work his way in to get that launch there, but top 3 set and sail again.
Back straight away into the 3rd turn. Dan West Jr. back up in front again. And I got to tell you this as well. You think of these drivers, you think of Dan West Jr., and you think of Jeff Stabnow. Now, they're waiting for a championship and the race. Sean Brightsman, fast qualifier. Terry, he went out last week, number 9 seed, if you will, 9th in the points. But you can bet your bottom dollar Sean Brightsman, 2020 Series champion, will do anything he can to help out his teammates of Dan West Jr. and Jeff Stabnow, except try to win the race. He will do what he can to win the race as well.
Well, and of course he will. I mean, you look at him right now sitting in the P3 position. You think he's going to let Ryan Bloom just pass him? You think he's going to let Chris Wright or White or Brian Reynolds or Ledbetter or Johnson or Peterson or Raz just come up there and just pass him all willy-nilly? No, he's going to side draft. He's going to hold him up. He's going to allow Dan West Jr. and Jeff Stabnow to continuously move their way up this field and just pull away. I mean, they have almost a second lead on Bloom. They already do have a second lead on White. This is going to be the biggest key, is your teammates are going to be your best friends and your best blockers at the end of it. Look at him there. Bloom goes to the outside. He changes his lane. He goes to the middle for him.
By the way, positions 9 and 10 on the racetrack for the points for a championship. Sean Brightsman and Christopher White, 2020 and 2021 defending series champions. They are out of it this year. They lost 2 weeks ago in the final race at Kentucky to not make an advance to the round of 8. And now they just race to look for a checkered flag. And again, as I mentioned, Brightsman will do all he can to probably help out Dan West Jr., Jeff Stabnow, because he's your teammates. But if he can win a race, you can bet your bottom dollar he will put himself in the catbird seat to do it. Here comes Chad Malik under attack. There's Johnson on the inside. Ledbetter also in that battle in the number 36 car as they work to start finish. This going on lap number 30 here at Vegas with DWJ leading back to 1.
Yeah, this race has kind of flown by so far. I mean, we're already on lap 30. It just feels like we took the green flag not even 5 minutes ago, but we're here. A lot of the field single file out for the fans that are watching and the fans that are listening on CRN. It has been, I wouldn't say uneventful to this point, but the only big issue so far has been John Ottenbacher, who's now finds himself in 23rd. He's 9 seconds back off this race lead, not making momentum back up to the top. He's actually losing momentum to Chad Malik back there, all the way back. When we take a look here at Johnson in the 7 machine, having a very good race so far. Johnson sits right where he qualified in P7. Not really moving, not really going as you look back here for this battle off of turn number 4.
Yeah, watching this battle now heat up again as they work their way back across the start-finish line. Frank Harris, now Ledbetter, Carl Burke in this battle. Hey, the number 9, Lake Peterson, trying to get into the top 10, trying to get around Ledbetter, the man that's pretty much dominated all season long in the Hooters number 9. Lake Peterson, the number 1 seed, coming into the round of 8 race tonight. He's sold 11 wins, 8 poles, 15 top 5s, and 19 top 10s. All that means nothing, though, Terry, if he can't be there at the end. You want to win tonight at Vegas, or at least in the next 3 weeks, to punch your ticket in to Homestead for a championship. He's at the final cusp of the line of making that happen.
Yeah, and the thing is, you can go have a phenomenal season. You could go out, look at Tyler Reddick in the Cup Series, for instance. Had a remarkable season. And what cost him? A couple issues in a playoff round. And that's what makes these playoffs so great. You hear all these fans across all 3 series go, I don't like it. I don't watch it because of the playoff system. Well, tough luck. You know, okay, I would rather lose 10 fans and have more exciting racing than have those 10 fans and it be bored.
The world we live in today is people become very, turned away from things. Their attention span goes very quickly as we approach 100 laps to go now, under 100 laps remaining here on lap number 34. But I will say this about people's attention span. You've got to keep people enticed. You've got to keep people exciting. If we had the old 70, 80, 90 NASCAR Point Series championship of run out the entire year and lock up a championship, then yes, you've done it. And but this is not the era that we live in today. People like excitement, people like stories, people like drama. And even in the virtual side of things, that's why we see the Northwest Cup Series and the Truck Series do this also, Terry, because it literally shakes up the competition. I'm for it. I'm all for it.
And so am I. I hear people criticize it all the time. We don't like the playoff format. Okay, don't watch. Go watch F1. Go watch those points where the championship could be locked up. 4 races to go. You could have
3 races to go, and McStat, he literally locked up the championship with 3 races remaining in Formula One. It's over. Right.
It's done. He could literally sit on his couch, eat popcorn, and don't even attend the races. He's won. If you look at the points F1 for NASCAR, people do this all the time. We want to show whatever the Winston Cup Series points would have been like for 1994 if it would have been the thing. Chase Elliott's locked it up. He could have went and took a nap. But this makes it compelling. It makes it enticing. And if Lake Peterson, with the remarkable season he's been on, comes out here and lays a goose egg here at Vegas, lays a goose egg next week, lays a goose egg the next week, he doesn't go to Homestead to race for the championship. He could have won every single race in the regular season, and it wouldn't have mattered.
That's exactly right. And the bottom line is this. It all has to just gel. The same thing for these drivers of the Northwest as we show the 9 of Peterson and his ascent to climb. He's now in the number 10 spot, but there is so much other competition around him. There you see now Jeff Stabnow. Look at Chris White. Chris White in the special pink car for Breast Cancer Awareness Month. The defending champion in that battle. And as I mentioned already, Terry, that is the 2021 champion, defending champion, and the 2020 champion, Sean Brightsman, right in there in that mix, battling with these guys.
Well, that shows
what
you
might have been. What might have been.
That also shows you that just because their championship bid's over here in the Northwest Truck Series doesn't mean they don't still have the competition and the speed to come out here and compete with the playoff drivers.
And they want to win.
That also what makes this sport so special is that we don't kick teams out and say, you're done. Go home, watch the playoffs on your couch. You're out here competing. You're still racing. In the Northwest Truck Series, the same drivers have shown up every week. They haven't really had a fall off of drivers because they're in the playoffs. They've come out and competed. Playoff drivers are winning, but non-playoff drivers are sitting here in 3rd, 5th, 6th, still competing for a win with the setups.
Certainly are. And of course, that driver will make every effort possible to now just trying to win a race. And all the while, here we go with these other corners back to 1 and 2. Actually, they're working off of 3 and 4 now as you see Jeff Stabnow in that number 2 position. Everything just working good for him down Vanilla straightaway. To the backstretch, Problem Tedrick. He's won here at Vegas before. Darlington, Vegas winner, B.J. Tedrick driving into the infield grass. Miller High Life definitely having a buzz there, driving for a second. And he has to just stop, get on the binders, and reset. And no caution, by the way.
Yeah, that was almost a catastrophe for some of those drivers that he drove up in front of there. But luckily, the know-withhold to move up the racetrack. Yeah, but you see here Cole Rath starting to have a battle with Caden Anderson. He finally got around him. Now he goes after Ledbetter, who's attempting to hold on to this thing, and the caution flag comes out and it waves over the speedway. 41. Oh, wow.
Stephen O'Hare, by the way, winner at Auto Club with a problem. Winner of the round of 12 playoff opener with an issue in car number 41. American Touch-Up Ford. Serious damage on the driver of car number 41. He's locked up the entire right front suspension and more. And the caution out for the second time. Terry here at Vegas.
Yeah, whoa, the 11
into Harris's car. And there you see the 41 back up the racetrack. The damage was already done. A fast repair will be coming. to the 41, and not only that, maybe the 11 of Frank Harris also. And the caution is out here. We're also at the top of the hour. We'll pause for 10 seconds of radio identification. This is the playoffs of the Northwest Racing Series on CRN, the Community Radio Network.
Community Radio Network, WCRN 87.9 FM, Clayton, Garner, Raleigh, North Carolina, USA. We are CRN. Your CRN, my CRN, our CRN. We are CRN. The Community Radio Network now and the new WCRN 87.9 FM. And still always anywhere worldwide at wearecrn.com. We are CRN. Welcome to the Community Radio Network. Follow us always via social media on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at CRN Sports. Plus, listen to the new CRN 87.9 and still anywhere worldwide at wearecrn.com. We are CRN.
This is our series,
So many different pieces that you have to watch out for.
where the stakes are always higher,
$300,000.
where virtual meets reality,
How bad do you want it? They're wasting no time getting at it.
where the best thrive and the flawless win. This is the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series.
Hey, it's broadcast personality Wesley Outlet up topside at one of the great racetracks of the world, the Caraway Speedway. And I'd like to remind you to join us every Wednesday afternoon at 1 p.m. Eastern to 3 p.m. Eastern with coverage of Finish Line, where we talk to everybody from NASCAR to grassroots, like right here at Caraway Speedway. Carolina's Fox Sports Radio affiliates, iHeartRadio, and on the Community Radio Network at 87.5 FM. And remember, thanks to Live Sim Racing Productions, you can actually see the guest panel, ask their questions, get interactive with us with comments, and so much more in our chat box. Finish Line every Wednesday. Join us every week. A lot less older, hairy me from earlier in the year from that promotion. But yeah, Finish Line. And by the way, big races coming up here in the next bit. We will have Finish Line live at the racetrack like we've done at Wilkesboro, like we've done at Jamaica, Caraway, Carteret County, all coming up down the stretch at the end of the season. You and I both know there, Terry Radford, is we're under caution. And by the way, we're understanding nobody came down to the pit lane during commercial break. That, man, as it gets down to the end of the year, in fall, in the winter months, big money races on the line. We'll have them for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Sean Brightsman, interesting note, came down from the fourth or fifth place position there. So Brightsman comes down. Brian Barnes came down. Obviously, Tedrick came down. That's of note of the drivers that were running.
Yeah, our
in the
producer
top.
just threw us to the wolves here. We were told there nobody pitted.
never. The only thing that I've ever learned in this whole biz is never trust the producer. Trust the screen in front of you.
Whoa.
I'm just kidding. I love our producer. But no.
I love it.
He
You were
pays
just
attention to
digging
his
yourself
multi-screen.
deeper and deeper in the hole there, Terry Radford. That's what I'm saying.
Well, he's got 15 different screens in front of him, so he pays attention to different stuff. We have the live timing in front. We see different things, and yeah, Wrightsman came down, which was really the only one of interesting note that come down.
That's it. Anyhow, we are under the caution, and we'll try to reset here as the lights are off on the pace car. We'll get ready to go back to green flag with Dan West Jr. I don't even want to know what the conversation's going on here. Lap number 46, green flag, back of the air as the field goes back into the Geico restart zone. By the way, we're under 20 laps away from halfway in the LSRTV Tennessee Volunteers mid-race report with Terry Radford.
Well, I'll tell you an interesting note here on that restart. the communication between Jeff Stabnow and Dan West Jr. didn't go according to plan because Chris White jumped to P2, and he got one heck of a start right behind the 55 of Dan West Jr. He cleared Jeff Stabnow before they got off of turn 3, or off of turn 2, mind you, and he's down the front straightaway going into turn 1. He has an eye full of that 55 machine right in front of him, and he's pulling the 24.
Yeah, he sure is. No doubt about it. Watching them working their way back to the back straightaway off the Nellis straightaway into turn number 3. This will be lap number 49 this time by. When we come to lap number 50, Terry Radford and myself, Wesley Outland, will give you the full field rundown. Obviously, phenomenal work behind the scenes by Charles Wooten. Live sim racing, Rocket Media broadcast coverage here in the Northwest Racing Series round of 8 championship, as well as those listening on the Community Radio Network for simulcast. Down the back straightaway now, Dan West Jr., White's got Stabnow coming, and while that goes on, Terry, here comes Bloom and Peterson battling behind them and those cars as they come to the line. Lap number 50.
Well, and welcome Lake Peterson into this conversation, the guy that has been the dominant driver so far in the Northwest Cup Series, and now he puts himself into the 4th place position. So the shift of momentum has become a thing here. We saw the caution come out early, and then he was in the back, and then we saw the second caution come out. He stays on the racetrack, gains a couple positions from the guys that was in front of him. Only 2 is what he gained there, and the rest he's made up on his own. He's +7. He started outside the top 10. He's here now, and now he's in the top 5. Got past Bloom. He works his way to see if maybe he can unseat that LSRTV team of Dan West Jr., Jeff Stabnow.
52 of 134 laps this time by. By the way, let's give you the full field rundown of the 27 starters that started this race. I believe, let's see here. It is Dan West Jr., the leader. Chris White in second, up 11 positions, by the way. He's in second. Lake Peterson up 8 spots to third. And we got trouble. Cars are in the infield grass. Wreck, calamity, problems there. That's Aaron Cooper. Cooper still spinning into the infield grass. They have not threw the caution yet. Brett Johnson also involved. And the cars are still below the apron of the speedway. No caution as Aaron Cooper has lost control of his car and hits into the wall. I really don't think he did that intentional, Terry. I just don't think he has control over the car. And he has to exit, and there's no caution. By the way, Dan West Jr., the leader. James Vining, by the way, off the pace now. The Catman, the 333. Chris White, Lake Peterson, Jeff Stabnow, Ryan Bloom, the top 5. Caden Anderson is 6th. Cole Raz is 7th. Sean Brightsman is 8th. Brian Reynolds is 9th. Kevin Smith, the top 10. Then it's Stephen O'Hare, Brian Barnes, BJ Tidrick, Toby Ritters halfway through the field here at Las Vegas.
You got Ledbetter, Kamari, Garber, Malik, Burke, Ottenbacher back there in 20th. Paulson, Vining, Nichols, Harris, Johnson, Cooper on pit road, and Troy Daggett is multiple laps down, -6 to this field.
Working now lap number 55. When they come back to the start-finish line here. And it has got a little chaotic since that last restart. 2 yellow flags only stopping the race. But for the most part here, Terry, been a pretty interesting race. But again, it has been Team LSRTV up at the front, but now some new shades of drivers at the front now. Lake Peterson is climbing. Anderson is up there. Chris White, Cole Raz, Super Friends, they're coming too.
Yeah, with this being an open setup race, and a fixed setup, I'm sorry, with it being a fixed setup race, there's no changes you can make to the car itself. So if you're Lake Peterson, you're Caden Anderson, you spent that first part of your run, you spent the first part of your race learning what the car does on this track. This is probably much different than what they've seen across this week with the races that they've done on the set. Now it's cloud cover, track is cold, the air temp is not there, the wind speed's up. So now you have to learn something totally different. And while people might think that doesn't change it, race to race, these cars change how they work on the track. You might have a track temp that's high that the rubber lays down, or you might have a track temp that's cold. It's a whole lot faster and it's a whole lot harder to get tire wear and tire rubber into the track.
Into turn number 3. Look at Stephen O'Hare, by the way, back into the top 10, up to 7th. The Auto Club winner that punched himself into one of these 8 spots for a championship. And now here you go, a couple of other playoff drivers in the battle. Dan West Jr. up on the outside, 2-time defending truck champion, down to the inside, battling now. But Lake Peterson, who we would probably say, Terry, has been the dominator all year long, the number 9. He now moves to the inside. He's looking for the lead. He's got the lead. Brightsman tries to help out with Dan West Jr. They make contact. He's sideways into the wall is Brightsman. Dan West Jr. front nose into the wall below the start-finish line. And the caution is out. Racing for a championship, racing for position. Lake Peterson had the move on the bottom. Brightsman, I believe, was going to try to help out Dan West Jr. I think he might have gave him a little push, or he cut the air off between them, Terry, and then they go spinning in turn number 4. Wow.
I think that was we'll see here on this replay, the 55 just tries to get on the
Dan
gas.
West Jr. on his own. Yeah, Dan West Jr. on his own into the wall.
He just tries to get on the gas too quick there, and that does not look like a ton of damage. So, I mean, good on him for slowing it down. He's still got the speed. I don't necessarily think it's going to hurt him as bad. He's going to come down pit road. I think he's going to be able to just sit there for a little bit and take a little damage repair. Don't use the fast repair just yet. Not needed. You know, you just got a little rear end damage, a little front end damage. Should be a little time, but you'll start in the back. It's early. It's, you know, halfway through the race, a little over halfway. You got time to make this up. But Brightsman, Pitton, drove all the way through the field. He's got 24 lap fresher tires than Lake Peterson. And then Stephen O'Hare back there in 4th. He's got 15 lap fresher, or 25 fresher tires than the rest of the field.
Caution out. And again, I want to just send an apology to Sean Brightsman. Obviously, everything happened so fast, but Sean Brightsman did not get into the 55. As we saw on the replay, Dan West Jr. just, honestly, Terry shot up the racetrack and hit the wall, lost that momentum, and then all of a sudden he starts just trying to overcorrect the car, fishtailed, and spun the car around.
You think about, we talked about the air of these cars. When there's a bubble between the wall and the car. So when he got back on the throttle and he got close to that wall, that changed the balance of this thing. These cars have been wind tunnel tested every single which way. And sure enough, he learned, you know, you get on the gas out there on that outside line, you slide up towards that wall a little bit, you bobble just an inch, it takes a mile. The car takes a lot more away from you than what you think, and you're out of control 80% of the time in these things. He's going to drive through this field. Dan West Jr. is going to be just fine. He only dropped to 16.
While we're under the yellow flag, I think this will be a perfect time for us to go back inside the broadcast booth and bring you to our mid-race report, as we are just about maybe 5 laps away or so from coming to halfway of this event. Of course, I'm Wesley Outland, Terry Radford down below. And yes, roll Tide, go Vols, Rocky Top. Very exciting moment in that football game. I know I literally got I seen the little glimpse of the game of the field goal, and I was just like, oh man, you know. Anyhow, let's talk racing. Terry, your take, first half of the race, as we are in the mid-race report under yellow flag. It is not disappointed. Very good show. I just still think it's very hard to pick out who's going to win. And, oh, by the way, the number 1 man that's dominated all year long with 11 wins and taking everybody to the woodshed, Lake Peterson, is now in P1.
he's not going to be there for long. I think Brightsman O'Hare is going to pass him. You got BJ Tidrick back there. The guys that pitted, they're on lap 44. They're going to set sail for a little bit, and then you're going to see your lap 60 pitters come up there and take control of this race. We technically could. I mean, you're going to see the tire difference between them. If I do pull
Go
the
grab your
tire,
tire. Give us a description. Tire talk. Tire talk. Tire talk. It's
So I do
time
have
for
pants.
Terry Radford Tire Talk.
So obviously you can see a little.
I just
you'll
find it
see
so damn funny that he's got a tire in his bedroom just ready to grab.
fresh-ish side of the tire right here. So you'll see fresh-ish tire. Well, this part over here is not fresh. So this is what Blake Peterson's got. This right here is what the rest of the field's got, minus a couple. There's like 5 or 6 that have not pitted since lap 20. The rest of the field has. Lap 44 is going to – the lap 44 pitters will dominate for a minute, and then the lap 60 pitters will dominate, and then we'll get back on sequence because there'll be another caution, and we'll have the money stop, and we'll go green to the end after the next caution.
His prediction, green to the end.
It's a spoiler.
That is Terry Radford. That is Tire Talk with Terry. That has been your mid-race report. We'll see what happens here as we go back to on-track action here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway as the green flag is about to come back into the air. The pace car is on the pit lane. Here comes the field with Peterson and Brightsman. Wow, something happened to Brightsman. He did not fire. Peterson did. He got a push and some help from super friends of Caden Anderson and Cole Raz. And here comes the cavalry that has been the big 3 all year long, moving into turn number 1 and 2.
Well, I don't think Blake Peterson wanted to go. Caden Anderson said, "You're going to go." He got back on the gas before Blake Peterson even attempted to put that foot on the pedal, and there they go. But he has a method to his madness because here comes Brightsman. He didn't go back far for long. He didn't get the best restart, but here he comes. He's going to pass him pretty easily and convincingly on that middle lane.
And as you said, Sean Brightsman might have not been ready to go on the restart, but now he has battled back on the outside, and he has cleared by Anderson. On the outside by a half a car length. Brightsman back to the lead. Anderson back to second. Peterson up the racetrack by himself up to third. O'Hare to the bottom. Now they'll close in with also Tidrick. Yes, Tidrick with a problem earlier in the race. A former winner here at Las Vegas, also in the Northwest Cup Series. Terry, he is up in the top 5 on lap 66, 2 to halfway.
Well, and like I said, you have 3 very distinct and different strategies that's happened here. The man leading this race pitted on lap 44. The man sitting in second pitted on lap 20. Then you got 45, 44, 20, 44, and then there's Chris White sitting the first driver that came down on that caution on lap 60 back here in the 47 machine. He's making a run now at Lake Peterson. You see the distinctive tire difference. The 4 machine pitted on lap 44, no match for Chris White. He jumps almost 3 car lengths ahead of him. He's shooting for more. He wants to go all the way up. He's going for third at the moment. The 47, it's got a hot rod under him, and you got to go all the way to Ryan Bloom to see the next driver that pitted on lap 40 or lap 60.
Yeah, we certainly do. Look at this gaggle of traffic. Remember the last time that we saw something of this magnitude happen, they ran each other up the fence and they wrecked. In the mid-pack around the top 15. Look at this now going on inside the top 5. That's Caden Anderson. Behind Caden Anderson, you have got a gaggle battle of, oh man, everywhere. Ritter's up the outside. O'Hare back in the battle. Here comes now the 4 Barnes. The number 24 staff now, Ryan Bloom. Briar Reynolds, playoff contenders in hot pursuit of this battle going to turn 1.
Yeah, you see him right here. You got Caden Anderson just, not going to say he's holding him up, but, you know, there's the caution. So this would be,
caution
this
out.
should put everybody back on the same sequence because you could potentially go here, and it's the 7 again.
Trouble up in turn number 1 and 2. Brett Johnson up in the diamond of the corner of the apex, and the yellow flag is out as he hit the wall. Caution out for the 4th time. Just after halfway. Here on board now, number 8 Nichols in front of him. And we'll find out what happened here, Terry, as it looked like maybe Johnson trying to make a move on Nichols, and they ran each other up the racetrack and they crashed each other. That's what happened. He just says, I give you a push, man. I give you kisses. Mwah, 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 mwah. Sorry I wrecked you. Nichols and Johnson right there. Ironically, car number 7, car number 8.
Well, at least they were numerically correct when they were backwards pushing each other, you know.
Take away my
I guess
thunder
there's
there,
a
by the way.
silver lining to this, is that at least the 7 was in front of the 8, you know, at the end. I just wanted to know where the 9 was at, because 7 could have 8, 9. That's fair. Producer guy's right.
We're just happy to be here. Well, they say I'm just here so I don't get fined, right?
Couple takers. Cole Raz, that's interesting. He comes down with Kevin Smith. I didn't expect him, out of all the other drivers that are still on this alternate strategy of 40 lap older tires compared to the rest of the field, to be the first one to come down out of that group. You still got Caden Anderson sitting there in 6th with legit, now it's 51 lap older tires on this thing to still be rolling with it. And then you got Lake Peterson too. There's only 3 of them on that strategy, Wesley. They must know something a whole lot different.
Well, the strategy has changed, no doubt about it, as you said. Obviously, we're going to keep an eye on that, but yeah, it's not over yet.
If this race goes green to the end, in which I think it will, I said we get a caution and then we go green to the end.
You did. You said that. You did.
That lap 20 strategy is going to look ignorant.
What if we get another caution?
It still looks ignorant. You think about this. Say we go 35 to 40 laps under the green flag condition.
Sure.
They have to pit. Okay? So they come down pit road. They're going to lose a ton of time. I mean, lap times are not going to be the same. You're going to be about a second, 2 seconds off. You're going to get bum rushed by a lot of people. You're going to get passed like you're sitting still. We go 30 laps like that. At some point in time, you have to come pit, which they're already in that window that, well, they're about 10 laps away from pitting. The only hope they have in that lap 20 pit stop, not coming down now, is that we need another caution within the next 10 to 15 laps for everybody to come down, or to set yourself in the box to where you don't pit again. You stay out from there, and then you just hope that it stays green. I don't understand. I do, but I don't. I don't know why they didn't come and pit there.
Well, this really does change that sequence of pit stops as you were talking about here. So I wonder if they feel that there's going to be more cautions. Let's look at the summary of the race so far, by the way, as we're just after halfway. Bottom left of the monitor, the summary of the event. There it is. 4 yellow flags for 14 laps of 71. 6 lead changes. And Terry Radford, my colleague, he's calling this, not me. He thinks this is our last caution flag of the race. He thinks we're going to go to the checker flag from here. Poll the audience. Poll the audience in our broadcast booth. Got a lot of people watching. Hello to you. Who is it?
I think the only way we have a caution is if it's one of the drivers that pitted on lap 20.
Oh, you can't back out now, Terry. Come on now.
No. I think we will go green to the end. But if a caution comes out, as much as I hate to say this, it would be the 37, the 9, or the 36 will be the cause of the caution.
We are asking the community, who will it be, okay? Will we have another caution? I say yes. I am voting. And I'm sorry, Terry. I say yes. Somebody's already said yes. Who are you going with? It's 50-50 right now. All right. Terry says we might have another caution if it's going to be somebody that didn't pit on lap number 20. Or they pitted around lap 20. Oh, you traitor. Charles Wooten, our producer, is taking your side, Terry. He's going to say no. No more cautions. Which anybody that knows Charles knows that he doesn't like yellow flags. So here we go. We're back to green. Hear it. We're back to green.
Well, you see them right now. They're already splitting Caden Anderson. They don't want to get trapped behind the slower tires. You see Ritter's up to the outside in the 23 machine. He kind of lost his momentum there, but what a start for Sean Breitzman. He took off.
Well, we got trouble. Look out, O'Hare, down below the bottom of the apron. Oh, that could have been a caution. It's not. We stay green, but O'Hare's in trouble, though. From the penthouse to the outhouse twice now. Here at Vegas, the 41 falls back.
He's still got speed in that machine. I mean, the 41's been fast. He started his shotgun on this field, drove up. He could do it again. We'll see what he's got. But if you're looking at a spoiler in this playoffs, look no further than that 47 or the 72. Those two have been fast. We saw the 72 have issues on this racetrack. He's back fighting in contention for a win. They just have to go up there and catch Sean Breitzman, who, like you talked about, was eliminated 2 weeks ago in Kentucky. He ain't backing down like Tom Petty.
Understanding that BJ Tidrick and Jeff Stabnow have both ran their fastest lap of the race. Tidrick up 23 spots to third. Jeff Stabnow is in fourth, -1. 75 on the board now, lap 76 of 134. We are heading into the home stretch here. 57 laps to go now.
Something like that math-wise, it's never been my strong suit. Dan West Jr. just ran his fastest lap. Cole Raz just ran his fastest lap. And surprisingly enough, Cole Raz's fastest lap was a 31.0. That is a well slower, almost a second off what Dan West Jr. and all of them have ran. And he has older tires, or newer tires. They have older tires than him. Chris White just took the race lead. He just ran his fastest lap time of the race, and it was a full second faster than Cole Raz. As now the battle for the lead heats up, and here comes Jeff Stabnow too to make it a three-way fight.
Through the tri-oval, back to start finish. Down to the inside, there's Chris White. 2021 series champion, got eliminated from the playoffs 2 weeks ago for a run to defend the crown. The 2021 and 2020 champion also at Breitzman in the mix right there. Here comes Stabnow, and I'll tell you something also, Terry, Jeff Stabnow, his car is really getting faster and faster. Put him up to P2 as they cross the line. 30-20 now, 30-20, a fastest lap just got turned by DWJ Dan West Jr. And he is in sixth.
And he's got Tidrick right in front of him, who's a little loose there on the bottom. He slides up the racetrack in that Miller High Life car. Not really balanced the way that he would want it to be. He goes to the middle. He lets Dan West Jr. take that bottom. He easily clears here. And now he sets his sights on Sean Breitzman in the fourth place position. Top 5 has broken away. Make that the top 6 is gone. And then you have a small little pack between Barnes and Reynolds. And then it's 3 seconds back, all the way back to Burke and Raz, who's on the outskirts of the top, or the bottom part of the top 10. But this has been very entertaining to see, and well, the laps tick down. Let's see if I'm right. We got about 50 to go.
54 laps to go as they work across the start-finish line. And by the way, nightfall is settling in. This race started in the day. It will just end right before nightfall here in sim time at Las Vegas. All the while, Chris White, the leader, Jeff Stabnow second, Ryan Bloom. But not really mentioned much about Ryan Bloom, by the way. What a run for that driver in the number 25 entry. 2021 ARCA Northwest champion. Solid drive. Doing well. Behind him, look at this battle. This is in the top 15 now, Terry. As Caden Anderson is under attack with Kevin Smith, James Vining, Frank Harris, Chris Camary, Lake Peterson, all these cars in this gaggle of traffic on the top 20.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised.
We're in the top 20.
Harris. I'm surprised with Frank Harris. He was one of the faster drivers in practice and didn't have the showing in qualifying. Qualified 24th on the field, and he had a couple issues in the race, but he had speed. And I watched a little bit of practice after I ended my show on Race Spot and just thought, man, how cool would it be for the 11 to have a top 5, maybe even a win here this afternoon. And now having to climb his way out of a hole, he's going to pass the 333 of Vining there and move him into the 13th position. Not too bad right there for old Frank Harris, who pitted on lap 60.
Yeah, pretty good solid spot right now for that Ford Performance entry Cobra. Shelby Cobra, Mustang. Battle for the lead. Problems though, correction, that's Stabnow. Under attack by Bloom. Under attack by teammate Dan West Jr. He's falling back. This is in the top 5. Jeff Stabnow was in second. He must have bobbed and moved the wrong way there, Terry. He has now fell all the way to the number 4 position behind these cars. Lap number 84. Lap 85.
I think he might have caught the apron there off of the corner. It kind of unsettled him just a little bit, but he didn't lose very much. He only lost a couple tenths of a second to who he was battling. I believe he was battling Bloom for the second place position, and it's just a case of losing a little bit of room, not having the room off the exit of the corner, just kind of barely just touching that apron. But it only upset him just a tad bit. They still have a massive lead all the way back to Tedrick. It's 3.5 seconds back to the 72 machine. And all of these drivers that sit right now, 1 through 4, pitted on lap 60. So the lap 60 strategy so far is the best strategy as we currently run.
Ready to settle this one now on lap number 87 when they come to the line. He is Terry Radford. I am Wesley Outland. Charles Wooten is running the boards. Hopefully our colleague and partner Justin Prince up in Canada will get to feeling better to join us next week, as next week will be the next of 3 races remaining in the round of 8. And again, these are tracks that are very, very unique. And obviously, a wild card in this bunch has to be, without a doubt, Terry Radford, Talladega.
Yeah, it's about the only wild card you got. You don't want to go there with an opportunity to lose points. You want to go there with the locked-in version of yourself. So you have to do it here, if that's what your mind's set on. And right now, it's Chris White, leading this race, a non-playoff driver up here. You got Bloom. You gotta think of something different. And at the end of the day, if you're one of these drivers that are not in the playoffs, no caution to the wind. Don't stay on the same strategy everybody around you. If you're a playoff driver, you got to think of something. As Casey Garber comes down pit lane, it's an unscheduled pit stop there for the guy in 23rd position. I'm still curious, when are our lap 20 drivers going to come down pit road as Chris White's off track? Something's happened with the 47.
Caution! Caution is out. We're in trouble. The leader has wrecked. Chris White has wrecked. Ryan Bloom has wrecked also. Drivers that were in the top 5 in the battle for the race win have crashed in the tri-oval. The yellow flag is out on lap number 90. For those that betted and said there would be more cautions, like I said, you win 66% to the 33 of no. Terry, we have a caution. Here's your replay. Oh, my, Ryan Bloom and Chris White get together. Man, we got to go a little further. We got to go a little further back. Here you go. Chris White, the leader. I kind of wonder if he slipped and Ryan Bloom got into him here, Terry. Working off the corner.
He just got, we got loose, tapped the wall. Damn.
Oh. Chris White into the wall as they worked into the Geico restart zone through the tri-oval. And then the 25 of Ryan Bloom tags the right rear. Nowhere to go for the 25. Floppity flop, flop, flop down in the right front of the 47 car. Look at the graphics that they've done to really animate and show you the best visualization of realization of what it's like inside of a real race car there, Terry. And that's a nice description there, watching that sheet metal dangle and fly. Although that's not good for Chris White, but obviously that makes it very interesting and realistic.
Well, and that's why when people ask me why I do iRacing and why I enjoy it so much, is imagine actually going to a racetrack that you've never been to before, and you get to see it for the first time, and you go out and you race an X-Gen car, or you go race a super late model. I'll say that, for instance, because you had Dale Jr. compete at North Wilkesboro in a super, and
late model stock.
Late model stock, but it had been how many years since he had been at North Wilkesboro in one of those cars?
He drove a late model stock car in 1995 at North Wilkesboro.
95.
Yep.
95. Last time he had touched it. He gets on iRacing. He turns hundreds of laps. And he goes up there, was fast in practice, finished high up in the race. I believe he finished third.
He finished third. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Caden Quapple won.
And iRacing is what he...
Mason Diaz was second, Dale Jr. third. Yep.
He practiced much. He practiced a lot on iRacing. I mean, you look at the same thing with what's his name? I drew a blank on him.
Josh Berry.
Josh Berry, Rajah
Okay.
Caruth.
Well, Josh Berry's running for a championship in Phoenix in 3 weeks for the Xfinity Series. Ty Majeski, who cut his teeth also in iRacing, he is racing for the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series Championship at Phoenix. William Byron, obviously another contender in the Cup Series. So yeah.
iRacing across the board. A lot of people disagree with them. A lot of people don't like things, but you can never, ever, ever, ever say that, iRacing's not the number one simulation or simulating game for a market. Because, I mean, Ray Afala went out. Blake McCandless went out. Landon Huffman went out from iRacing and jumped into a car. And it's had some success, and there's an idea for 7-time champion on iRacing to go race a super late model at some point in time at Hickory. This is the number one here.
No, there's some things they've got to work out there on that, and I will tell you this as we get ready to go back for the restart. Our producer Charles, would you like to jump in here and say something? Go ahead real quick, bud.
You done got me riled up behind the scenes over here. But I agree with everything you said, Terry, except, like I said, except for the dirt cars. Anyone that's ever been behind in the pits with a super late model or
or a sprint car.
Yeah, sprint car, especially late models. They sound like they're about to fall apart. They're so loud. They're rattling bolts, and they sound clanky and loud. And that's the one complaint I have with getting stuff right. Now I'm going back to producing.
All right, thank you very much, Charles, for jumping in. Of course, you hear him now. Charles joining us here. He joined us on a broadcast a couple of weeks ago for the Truck Series in Iowa. And by the way, Talladega next week. Boy, oh boy, wild card settle in. We're going to take off on Halloween. Be safe getting candy. Don't go to Terry's house. He'll give you some orange candy corns in observance of the Tennessee Volunteers. And then we go to Dover. Then we go to Phoenix. And about 4 weeks from now, 5 weeks from now, believe it or not, we will crown a champion at Homestead. And we are back underway here, Terry. Candy corn? You like candy corn?
Favorite candy of all time. Jeff Stabnow takes this lead, but he's got Cole Raz behind him, pitted on lap number 70. Dan West Jr., who just had that issue, by the way, mind you, pitted right there on lap 91. He's back up to fourth, so it didn't take long for the 55 to put himself back up in the top four. Now he's going to run for third, and he's going to make easy peasy work of the top two here.
Down the back straightaway from the pit view, if you will, of all the haulers in the turn number 3. And here comes Cole Raz down to the inside. Started this season winning at Daytona. Missed a couple of weeks during the playoffs because of other commitments, but he won one of the round of 12 rounds to put himself into contention. And now he is battling with Dan West Jr., another playoff driver. Look at Jeff Stabnow. He is falling back as Brian Reynolds is in the middle, another playoff contender. Ryan Barnes, another playoff contender. Here comes also, whoa, Stabnow, trouble. Smith goes down into the wall. Chris White is wrecked into the fence. Caution is out as we approach lap 100.
That all started from the checkup right there with the 12 machine of Reynolds. He got loose in the center of the corner. Stabnow had nowhere to go. He checked up, and everybody else behind him either didn't get the memo or just didn't care. They went in there, guns a-blazing, and walked right through that to cause that wreck. We'll see the replay with B.J. Tedrick right here. You'll see the 12 machine.
Yeah. And Terry, if you're Jeff Stabnow, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You're coming to the pits right now.
Oh, absolutely.
Wow, what a save for him. Paulison collected, White collected, Kevin Smith.
What a save for Smith. He had no
Brett
contact.
Johnson just barely getting by, man.
The 00 just locked it up. He caught no contact in that, no collection of anything or any sorts, no damage to the 00. But it literally all started from a checkup out of turn 4 from the 12. And then it just bottlenecked from there, and everybody else behind them, instead of checking up, missing in a 4-groove racetrack, and on the straightaway you can go 6 wide, for heaven's sakes.
What are you thinking, Terry? Money stop? You think everybody's coming down the pit road? Money stop right now?
Not everybody. The people who pitted potentially on lap 70 might come down, or 60, but nobody else is pitting. It's too early.
Who was going to peel off? Man, I'm even finding it surprising Jeff Stabnow did not pit. Jeff Stabnow was in some big trouble. He fell all the way back, and he is not pitting.
I don't blame him. You saved the set of tires at the end of this race.
O'Hare is in. Stephen O'Hare is in.
I'm
Chris
surprised
White is
Kevin
pitted,
Smith
obviously.
didn't pit.
Yeah.
But if you think about this, if the trend continues and we get another caution or 2 cautions, 34 to go, it's only taken, right now with 23 cars on the lead lap, it hasn't taken but 4 or 5 laps to get yourself back to the front if people stay out.
Should be a wild finish coming up. We're on lap number 99. About to put triple digits on the scoreboard. And in addition to that, we are getting ready to settle in. We're getting ready to settle in for the finish here.
This is going to be a
34
barn
laps
burner.
remaining. Yeah, and your idea of caution flags have flew out the window, by the way.
Yeah, well, I mean, now you have to think, with 34 to go, I don't think many people in the field gave any bones about what they were going to do. They were going to drive through the field. If this stays caution-free, you're going to see a massive, and I mean a massive overhaul of what this top 10 looks like right now. I mean, I don't think Stabnow finishes there. I don't think Brian Reynolds finishes there. I don't think Cole Raz finishes there. I think the lap 91 pitters work their way up, and they make easy pickings of them, down the stretch. But this is going to be an absolute slugfest to the end.
Dan West Jr. is the leader. Cole Raz in second. Brian Barnes is third. Hey, mention Brian Barnes. What a quiet night for him. Like he's done all year, being consistent. Terry in third. He's got a shot to win here tonight.
He could absolutely win it. I mean, you think about it. If Cole Raz and Dan West Jr. get to battle in side by side, and Dan West Jr. has the bobble that he had there, that put him in the back for a little bit, Brian Barnes can win this race. Because you got to look, Caden Anderson hadn't been in this position really all race long. He has a very strong opportunity of winning this race.
Talladega coming up next week. And then we take off for Halloween. We come back to Dover and Phoenix. Two very, honestly, let's be honest, Terry, as we get the lights off of the pace car, 1 to go. Green flag next time by on lap number 102 of 134 laps. 2 attempts at overtime if needed in this race, by the way, per the rule book of the Northwest Racing Series. But very unique racetracks, especially in the round of 8. I said it whenever we unveiled the playoffs, and I point blank said, I said, man, if there are tracks that are going to be very unique to win at, it's got to be the round of 8 playoffs here. You go from Vegas to Talladega to a mile at Dover concrete to then the whatever overmile track is at Phoenix. I know normally NASCAR races for the championship at Phoenix. We're going to go to Homestead, but man, they're going to be fun and unique here, no doubt about it.
Yeah, it's going to be absolutely historic at the end. I mean, you got to think Talladega, and then you end it with Dover. There's two polar opposite tracks.
Ready for the field to come back to the restart zone. Green flag in the air. We're back to it again. 32 laps to go. Dan West Jr., big restart. Gone.
Yeah,
well, he called everybody asleep at the wheel.
Look at Anderson on the outside of Raz. He made that pass. It's going to be a matter of time to see finally head-to-head between the two, or what would be the two fastest cars. We'll see what Caden Anderson's lap time is when he crosses the line, if he has the speed or if he just has the fresh tires.
31 laps to go. We are ready to settle in here. By the way, let's take you to the finish when we come back, but we are going to pause for 10 seconds of radio identification. The Northwest Racing Series playoffs on the Community Radio Network from Las Vegas.
Community Radio Network, WCRN 87.9 FM, Clayton, Garner, Raleigh, North Carolina, USA. We are CRN.
Welcome back to the playoffs. Round of 8, opening round tonight at Las Vegas. I am Wesley Outland, Terry Radford alongside. Hopefully Justin Prince has been under the weather. He gets to feel in better and could join us next week at Talladega. It has come down to this. This race has not disappointed. But as we approach 30 laps to go, and now under 30 remaining with 29, who wants it more? Dan West Jr., big lead over Caden Anderson. Brian Barnes, Lake Peterson, and BJ Tidrick. Terry, the top 5, they're on the Nellis straightaway.
Yeah, and watching the lap times that we pulled up here on the LSRTV scoring pylon, it's definitely showing you that there was a big speed differential between the 55 and the 37. And it's not very often that you say that time he puts my foot in my mouth, and Caden Anderson goes out there and puts his fastest lap of the race down finally with a 30.50. He's still 0.3 off what Dan West Jr. did in his fastest with a 30.2. But let's not overshadow the fact that the 4 machine of Barnes, he's there. Here comes Lake Peterson, who's faster than everybody on this racetrack. This race is far from over with 27 to go.
Settle in. Look at Brian Barnes up on the outside. He'll make a move on Peterson down to the bottom. He's also got Tidrick below. Tidrick has won in the Northwest Series of Cup cars here at Vegas as well. 2-time winner, winner at Darlington, and winner here at Vegas also back in 2020. All of this going on. 27. Now make it 26 to go. Dan West Jr. gone. And by the way, Terry, he is doing it with the help of any of his teammates behind him. Sean Brightsman, Jeff Stabnow, none of them in sight.
Yeah, I don't want to be the one to kind of rain on his parade. But I will be, because I like being that guy. I'll play a hypothetical for a second. Hypothetically,
Okay.
we see a caution. I think Lake Peterson's better than him. I don't think, I know. I'm looking at the timing sheet. He's 0.2 faster than Dan West Jr. Granted, he's getting a little bit of a draft, but I think that Caden Anderson's slowing him up more than he's helping Lake Peterson. Peterson gets around Caden Anderson. Caution comes out. We get a heads-up battle between the 55 and the 9. I think the 55 takes it, and Dan West Jr. was even slower that time with a 30.77, and Caden Anderson's got a bumper and a mirror full of that 9 Hooters machine.
Under 25 remaining. Lake Peterson and Anderson, couple of teammates. Raz, also the member of Super Friends, back in the top 10 in 9th. Here comes Peterson down to the bottom, going after Anderson. Any of these cars could win this race. West, half a second lead over the field, off the back straightaway now. Into 3. Dan West Jr. He knows they're coming. You mentioned it, Terry. And now we just see Peterson and Anderson battling side by side as we work into 22 to go. The old cliche is 2 cars battling side by side will make a faster car pull away. That's kind of happening for Dan West Jr., but not for long, I don't believe.
Well, I mean, they're side by side. They both ran 30.78. Dan West Jr. ran a 30.77, so the clean air is not helping him. I still think he's slower than both of them. I think they could go side by side here for the remainder of this race, and I still believe they'll catch him. As crazy as that sounds, and obviously I broadcast here for LSRTV. He's Team LSRTV, and now look, Lake Peterson goes to the outside. He gets the momentum. He takes it. This spells trouble. If you're the 55, I think you back her down just a tad bit. I think you let him catch you. You save a little bit of your rubber. You save some of that tire. You cool that thing down, and you make the most hard charge that you can to keep him behind you. He's much faster than the 55 at this portion of the race.
At the line, 20 laps to go now. Working lap number 114. And you got to wonder, Terry, could we see somebody break loose and have that late race caution? With these drivers now trying to run each other down, it looks like it's coming down to 3 cars. Dan West Jr., Lake Peterson, Caden Anderson. And they have, by the way, pulled away from everybody else. 19 to go at the line.
Well, with the respect that the Northwest, Cup Series have for one another, I would expect that they'd give each other a little room here, knowing that, hey, the cards are there. Everything's dealt. There's nothing left to turn. The river's done. The flop's done. You're content with what you got on the table. There's nothing else you're going to do to this car in the position you're in to make it faster or to make it go anywhere else other than where you're sitting. go back to my point where I'm watching this ticker start to go down. You'll see it on your screen as well. The lap times continuously show me that maybe, just maybe, Dan West Jr. is listening to this show, and he heard me say back it down a tad bit. Just, you don't need to go full mayhem. There's no sense in it. You're already the race leader. You have nothing left to prove to anybody on the racetrack that you're fast. You might prove it to yourself to help your ego, but who cares? Back it down. Let the 9 catch you. Let your dirty air affect his car. Don't let him catching you affect your car. And granted, he's got a mirror full of Caden Anderson, but lifetime-wise, we're seeing it here. 31.4, 31.4. Caden Anderson faster than the other two.
Dan West Jr. bringing it back off of turn number 4 into the trioval. To the line, 16 laps to go. Dan West Jr., he knows he's got a hornet's nest behind him. But here's the other deal. Anderson and Peterson, they'll race each other hard as well for that second spot. Who wants it more? Oh, and by the way, with a 3-car battle fighting for the lead, if they slow each other up there, Terry Radford, this will allow Sean Brightsman and Brian Barnes to get into the battle as well. Only 2 seconds back, 15 to go.
Yeah, 15 laps to go, and Dan West Jr. that time puts a 31.69 to a 31.63 right there for Lake Peterson, and they were still side by side. Caden Anderson, Peterson still going after each other. And I'll take you back to Kyle Busch in the Clash 2 years ago or 3 years ago when Alex Bowman was racing against him. Hey, if we work together, we have a chance to win this race. If we fight each other, we let that guy win the race.
That's right.
Who would you
and
rather
we're
win
using
the
our
race?
cars up, and we're exactly. Let's take care of our competition. Let's get around this guy, then we'll battle it out to decide who wins. And all the while, Dan West Jr., you're exactly right. 3 cars right there in a tandem with one another. Dan West Jr., the leader. Peterson up high, the Hooters number 9. And Caden Anderson in that Harvest Chevrolet hugging the bottom. Down to the inside. They'll fan back out single file. 13 to go here at Vegas. It's time to place your chips on the line in the virtual Sim City. Whoa, Anderson sideways! Overshot off the corner, and the car got loose. How bad did he lose the car, though, there, Terry? How bad is his car? I know he lost ground, but how can he get back up there?
Yeah, no, he's fell back too much, in my opinion. I kind of think that his bed's kind of made. He pushed it too much off the corner, fighting with Peterson there. While I think that Anderson's one of the most talented guys in this field, I think that he kind of pushed it. He knew that he had one last-ditch effort to get around Lake Peterson, and he couldn't make it stick. Now it's going to be a 2-horse fight, and that's the only way it's going to let him get back in this fight with 11 to go, is if the 9 and the 55 go side by side, and they hold it for a sustainable of maybe 4 laps to pull him back in, because it's now a second.
Dan West Jr. in the 55 machine. He is also a 2-time defending Northwest Truck Series champion. He is one of the drivers that are battling for both the Cup and the Truck title this year for the Northwest. Whoever wins this race that has a yellow banner and spoiler on their car, signifying, recognizing, acknowledging that they are one of the playoff drivers, are going to Homestead, no matter what happens in the next 4 weeks. 10 to go here at Vegas. We're on lap number 124.
I think the big sign right here for the 55 is that the 9 walked up the track to the middle lane. So maybe he's trying to find the speed that's up there. And if you're Dan West Jr., run what you know. Run what you have done for the whole time of this race. For 120 laps, you've been there on the bottom. Don't change your lane because Lake Peterson's there. Make him earn his spot. Make him earn it around you on the outside. He was a a tenth faster there, barely a tenth, 6/100ths of a second faster, and he's eating those tires on that outside.
Dan West Jr., last time he won on the Northwest Racing Series Cup schedule back in the summer, he picked up the win at Pocono. He has another win this year to go with his 2 wins on the season. That included a win back in March in the spring at Richmond. Now you talk about a guy like Lake Peterson, the #1 seed, the man that has dominated all year, 11 for 12 tonight. And his most recent win came back on September the 26th when he, of course, won at Iowa Speedway. And remember, that wasn't enough. He won the Roval at Charlotte also, Terry, to put himself in the catbird seat. We're in single digits now, 8 to go, and the battle of cat and mouse goes on as well here at Vegas.
Well, 7 to go, I'll play devil's advocate again. If I'm looking in the mirror, I'm Lake Peterson. I'm looking at Sean Brightsman, who's getting around
Here he
Peyton
comes.
Anderson at the moment into
Yes,
3.
sir.
He came in on lap 92. What he did on lap 92 is yet to be seen. We don't know, but the 55s fell off tremendously.
6 to go.
6 to go now, and
Hey, and you know what Anderson's doing? He's hooked up with Brightsman. He is using a draft, if you will, Terry, as a tandem to run back down the leaders. Are you
Smart.
kidding me?
Brightsman, the fastest car on the racetrack that last time by. He had a 100th on Jaden Ledbetter back there in 8th. But Brightsman's there. He's on Peterson.
5 laps to go this time by. Sun setting here in Vegas at Sim City. It is now what was a 2-car battle for the win. Now 4. 2 teammates amongst each other. Another 2 teammates, if you will. Lake Peterson got caught loose off the corner at a 2. Fishtail got sideways. Brightsman capitalizes. Here he comes to the bottom.
I think this is what we're going to have to see, who's got what at the moment. I mean, it's still the fastest car on the racetrack is Sean Brightsman. Can he clear Lake Peterson? He's going to have to do it within the next lap and a half, and he does. 9 gets
Peterson in
major
trouble.
loose.
Peterson in trouble. Brightsman gets around. Anderson trying to get back to Brightsman. He's the 3rd. Peterson falls back. Dan West Jr. is now back to a nice, comfortable spot of a half a car length, if you will. And 3 laps to go. And if there's any consolation, as I mentioned earlier in the race, Terry, with the exception of Sean Brightsman wanting to win this race, he is teammates to Dan West Jr. And do you think he'll help his guy win to go to Homestead, the Race 4 championship? No doubt about it. But there's a caution. Caution is out. This changes everything. Chris Camary, the 1.5 studio car, up against the tri-oval wall. Caution is out. Overtime awaits. Well. More cars involved. Here's your replay. My, Terry. If the suspense wasn't enough, now you just threw another pendulum of the Justice Motorsports esports meter to determine who's going to win this battle. Camary and Harris turn each other down into turn 4, into the tri-oval.
That looked interesting.
Wow. Well. Terry, do you come to the pit lane with 3 to go?
No. No way.
Nobody pits.
I mean,
Nobody pulling any kind of Christopher Bell stuff like at the Roval to win the race.
Wow.
You're going to stay.
A couple pitted.
They are pitting. Look, they are pitting. What are you talking about? They are pitting. Wow.
That's a lot of cars stayed out though.
Caden Anderson, Lake Peterson pitted.
10, 9.
9 cars
9
stayed out.
cars
Dan West Jr., Sean
stayed
Breitzman,
out.
Chris White, Ryan Bloom, Jaden Ledbetter, James Viney with a good run for him tonight. Stephen Paulison, Brett Johnson, Chad Malik. And honestly, Terry, Chris White, who crashed earlier, has put himself back in the catbird seat along with Ryan Bloom to possibly win this race, because it will be a double file restart, mind you. Now, if you're Anderson or Barnes or Peterson or Raz or Tidrick and you pitted and you've got new tires and they're fresher compared to these other drivers, are they going to stallion and come to the front like a Clydesdale? Or are they going to have to wait for a few laps and they'll run out of time, Terry? Tire Talk with Terry, what are you thinking?
I mean, I'm jumping to the outside. First chance I get, I'm going 3 wide. I'm rim riding this and hoping and praying that somebody blocks me. To be perfectly real, I mean, if you're Caden Anderson or Lake Peterson, you got to think you're racing for a championship. You're racing for something much bigger. So if you jump on that outside and gain 7 spots and a caution comes out in that first lap, I mean, that's what Dan West Jr. did. Dan West Jr. jumped up, gained a ton of positions, caution comes out. He found himself in third. He takes the race lead. I'm going with the same strategy. I didn't expect that many people to stay out. Chris Kamari stayed out, and he wrecked. So that's going to be another wrench in the thing. Is the lane that he's in is not going to go at all.
We'll find out as we'll get ready to settle in for what will be a restart. 3 overtime. You're exactly right. Overtime running enough. We had double overtime in soccer on CRN this afternoon. Well, that game tied. They're not going to tie here. Somebody's going to win. And remember, if you're one of those drivers with the yellow spoiler and the yellow visor on the top of the car panel, you are one of the playoff contenders. You want to win, Terry, because if you do, you punch your ticket into Homestead to race for a championship. However, there's drivers that are hungry. They want to win. They want to win the races. Let's go get some more thoughts and advice with Charles Wooten. Charles, what you got?
Okay, I just want to point out for all the viewers out there, I'm sorry, Wesley, I got to get you here. You see the yellow flag? That's an orange banner. I think
what?
That's an orange banner. If you see, I'm sorry.
Did I say yellow flag?
No, you said yellow banners, but it's an orange banner.
Okay, well they look yellow from.
That, see, I just
let me
now
strangle you.
Y'all, now you hear what Wesley hears in his ear all the time.
Is it yellow or orange?
Come on, Terry. You got there. That is orange.
It is orange. It's orange. Okay, bite me. But leave us alone, Charles. And there is just a little sample of what goes on with LSRTV After Dark. Terry, what you got, man? Was that orange or yellow?
All right, it's definitely orange. It's Texas burn orange.
You only said that because you're a Volunteers fan. You only said that because you're a Volunteers fan.
It's Texas orange. It's definitely burnt Texas orange. It's 110. These boys need to stop wrecking. I have work in 5 hours.
Overtime, number 1. If a green flag comes out like it does now, we're back underway. They take the white flag. Race is official. They wreck before the white. Second attempt at overtime. We're back to it again, and look at Dan West Jr. My goodness there, Terry. I think he was playing possum with everybody. He is showing his biggest strength of the car with his teammate behind him down the back straightaway. Caution's out. Overtime coming up. Cars are crashed. Anderson is crashed. Malik is crashed. Overtime number 2 awaits here at Vegas, and we're not done yet.
Wow. The only person that benefited, whole Raz.
Watch the replay. 37, Anderson trying to go 3 wide. Is that Raz behind him? No, oh, he just turned in on the left rear or the right rear of Malik's car, and Malik and Anderson go in the fence. Here's the deal, Terry. I think Anderson was trying to get clear to the bottom. He cut off and got into the right front of the 06. Not saying it was intentional. He was just trying to get to the bottom of the racetrack, and Malik was still there. Malik was still there, and around they went.
Fresh tires, you have 2 laps to make it happen. You kind of know you're not going to win the race because of how much you have to get through traffic. But he wanted to put himself in a good opportunity if the caution came out. Unfortunately, the caution was you. So it happens.
So we set ourselves up for another restart. Second attempt at overtime. Second attempt at overtime. By the way, this is it. Whatever happens, happens. If the leaders come to the line, they take the white flag, the CRN 1 to go. They'll race back to the flag. Race is official. Wreckers or checkers to the flag. If they wreck before they take the white flag and the caution comes out, the field is frozen at time of caution, just like NASCAR does with the 3 Torn National Series. And we will base the finish of the race on the scoring loop at time of yellow. Boy, oh boy, Chris White up 10 spots, back to third, up 5 spots. Ryan Bloom up 7 spots. What a run also, Terry Radford, for Jaden Ledbetter. And how about it for the cat man, James Vining? Here, kitty kitty. What a good run for him.
Yeah, having a really good show. Paulison's having a good show back there in 7th. There's a lot of good stories that's in this field that could pull one. I still think once we come and take the one to go here on this caution, that I think the win is going to come down to who gets the best restart here. I think Wrightsman stays with his teammate as much as possible, and it is still pacing.
Yeah, they're still under the yellow flag, so give them one more lap, it looks like, before we can try to turn them back loose again. Dan West Jr. I ask you this question, Terry. Can Dan West Jr. win this race? And obviously to do that, he has got to have a stellar restart, kind of what he had the last time in the overtime 1.
I would have took the outside if I was him, to be honest. I think that's his best shot to win this race. If the 47 times the restart on the 55 like he has done before, I think the 47 wins this race based off of 8-lap fresher tires.
Here's something to think about. 8 drivers racing for the championship, obviously in the playoffs. And those drivers, again, include Blake Peterson, Cole Raz, Caden Anderson, who responds to caution, Dan West Jr., number 4 seed, trying to win. Jeff Stabnow, a couple of laps down, but he was a contender earlier in the race. Brian Barnes, Kevin Smith, and Briar Reynolds. Those are your 8 drivers. For everyone else in the front, Sean Wrightsman, Christopher White, by the way, Terry, number 8 and 9, or number 9 and 10 in the point standings that did not make the cutoff. Look at how good they are. And they are right there in the front to try to win this race, even though they're not racing for a championship.
I mean, you look at the banners on these things. I see 1 banner for playoff drivers so far in the rest of the top 10. Everybody else has just a normal banner. That will tell you that these drivers are not here to back down. They're not here to roll over. I think the only thing right now for Dan West Jr. that's going for him, there's his teammate to the outside. How bad does his teammate want to win is the question.
Sean Wrightsman again, he's got 2 wins on the year. Dan West Jr., 2 wins on the year. And everybody else that you mentioned, Terry, all the way in the back was playoff contenders. as we now put Dan West Jr. right there as we settle for the restart. You've got the next playoff car of Cole Raz in 10th. Brian Barnes behind him. Blake Peterson as well. Those are your drivers that are in the playoffs. So it's up to Dan West Jr. with the orange visor on the car and the spoiler. Green out. Overtime number 2 at Las Vegas. It is time to place your bets. And who's it going to be? Dan West Jr., Terry, another great restart.
Yeah, but the problem was Brightsman didn't get clear of White, and now he's going to try 2 and 2. It worked. He got him, and now caution's back out.
And this is it. This race will finish under yellow flag. Caution will wave. They are wrecking somewhere behind them. Dan West Jr. will come to the line. He will take the caution and the CRN 1 to go. White flag is out with the yellow flag, which is the CRN 1 to go. Final lap of the race under caution, Dan West Jr. He will be punching his ticket, Terry Radford, into Homestead in 4 weeks to race for a championship for the Northwest.
I mean, he was the most dominant car all race long. Drove from the back to the front and never really gave up. He made one mistake this whole race, and that was getting loose off the corner and catching the wall. Other than that, he's been flawless.
They will catch the pace car. They will work their way across the start-finish line. And by the way, he did it with the help and assistance of Sean Brightsman, giving him just that little nudge, that little help along the way to hold off Chris White. They come to the line. Checkered flag is going to wave, and Dan West Jr. is going to Homestead. He will race for a championship of 1 of 4 in Homestead in 4 weeks to decide the Northwest Cup title. Sean Brightsman second, Chris White third, Ryan Bloom is fourth, Jaden Ledbetter fifth, Lake Peterson right there. I was trying to find the next playoff car. He'll finish in 6th. So the next playoff contender, 5 behind Dan West Jr., Terry. And again, that was Lake Peterson, who got a big change to come to the front. By the way, I'm seeing Cole Raz all the way in the back in the top 15. I'm wondering, I don't know if we can get a replay of it, but I'm wondering if he was a part of a caution. Him and Caden Anderson or some other cars wrecked each other that caused this yellow flag before the end of the race.
Yeah, I think he was part of that incident with a couple of
Here
the drivers.
It is. This is why we finish under yellow. Raz coming hard to the front, Terry. He got, oh my, he got into Vine and he caused the accident.
Not clear.
Terry, where do you think that come from? Just being aggressive? Just trying to aggressively get back to the front and made a mistake?
You've got to.
Kind of what Anderson did.
Yeah, you've got to. You're in that situation. That's kind of what the green-white checkers have turned into, is you have to make the move. You can't just sit there and wait. You have to make it.
This race went 143 laps of the scheduled distance of 134. And Dan West Jr. is going to celebrate. The driver out of Shelton, Washington, punches his ticket into Homestead, Miami, as B.J. Tidrick and Chris White give a blow to the 55. And the Northwest High Five salute is underway. Toby Ritter's going in there. John Audenbacher, his teammate, flying through the air. So is also Ryan Bloom with a nice kill shot. A lot of respect, by the way, Terry, to Dan West Jr. also. Here is your results. By the way, just want to throw this out there. The Major Series presented by Majors Garage is back in action this Sunday night at Daytona. 2.4 hours of Daytona with the ISMA prototype cars. That will, of course, be this Sunday night, 7:45 Eastern Time, we'll go live. By the way, Dan West Jr., the winner. Sean Brightsman, second. Chris White, third. Brian Bloom, fourth. Jaden Ledbetter, fifth. As I mentioned, playoff drivers. Lake Peterson is sixth. Stephen Paulison, seventh. Another playoff driver, Brian Barnes, eighth. Chris Kamari, ninth. BJ Tidrick, your top 10, Terry.
You got Toby Ritters back there in 11th, Brian Reynolds in 12th. John Ottenbacher comes back after that early spin to finish 13th. Cole Rass calls in the final caution. Caden Anderson the caution before that. Brett Johnson 1 lap down. James Vining down 2. Kevin Smith down 2. Jeff Stabnow with a strong run, -3. Gary Nichols rounds out your top 23 laps back.
Frank Harris, 21st, multiple laps down, along with Carl Burke, Chad Malik, Stephen O'Hare, Casey Garber, Troy Daggett, and Aaron Cooper, multiple laps down in the number 71. Race saw 7 caution flags in this event here tonight at the Las Vegas. I'm sorry, whoa, correction, I'm off. 9 caution flags for 33 laps with 11 lead changes in total here. Terry, I'm going to let you step away, buddy. I know you got to get ready to go to work tomorrow. I know it's late here on the East Coast. I can handle post-race interviews, my friend, but I want you to give your final take of tonight's analysis here tonight at Las Vegas.
Very proud of Dan West Jr. Absolutely stellar across the board. I'm excited to see him over the next 2 weeks. Obviously next week with Dega, and then taking an off week for Dover, he gets to be carefree in that 55 machine. He has a chance to get Jeff Stabnow the win at Talladega. That's going to be massive. He doesn't have to worry about it. Brightsman doesn't have to worry about it. But what a race. I want to shout this guy out because I was so proud to sit here and watch him. Stephen Paulison, plus 12 in the 8th place position. Hats off to you. That was one hell of a run. And I hope that he gets this momentum to push him to Talladega to potentially go in there and spoil this playoff field. But yes, I am 5 hours away from work.
and another notable driver, Chris Kamari, as you mentioned, a solid top 10 after having some accidents. Really good drive. Hey, he is Terry Radford. I'm Wesley Outland. We are going to step away real quick. Coming up, the finish line. Post-race wrap-up. I will grab a word with the top 3 and wrap things up here at Vegas as Sim City is done. 2 attempts at a restart to the checkered flag, and Dan West Jr. has won win number 3 of the year and punches his ticket, more importantly, to the Race 4 Championship 4 at Homestead. We're back in a moment. This is the Northwest Racing Series playoffs on LSRTV and on the Community Radio Network. We'll talk to the podium when we return. Welcome back to coverage of iRacing on LSRTV. It is time for the finish line post-race wrap-up. Terry Radford has finally stepped away for the evening. I'm Wesley Outland. We grab a word now with the drivers on the podium after 2 attempts at a green-white checker in overtime. Dan West Jr. has picked up the win. It will be his 3rd win of the year. We'll talk to those drivers in just a moment. But first, we grab a word with the 3rd-place finisher. He is also the number 9 or number 10 in the points going into the championship. He did not make the round of 8, but the defending champion of last year. But, man, a valiant effort. Got wrecked, came back, raced through the field. Chris White, your take of Las Vegas, man. It had its highs and lows, and you're just not giving up to try to get a win here.
No, honestly, I'm not sure how I ended up finishing up here, but I'll take it. These races are hard. Man, this competition's tough. As you see each week, everybody's fighting hard to get the wins, and we certainly come to Vegas, and we usually run strong here. It's just kind of stinks to not be in the chase for the championship any longer. I did win the championship last year here at this track, in fact.
Yeah.
But it's been a good race. It was a good race. We got up there and led some laps, which was good. Strong car, fast car. Thought I could have a good run going, but then I got back in there and got into some wrecks there. I don't know what happened when I was leading the race and wrecked. That's kind of embarrassing to do, and it just got a little snappy on me, and I tried to correct it, and it just went right into the wall, so that was unfortunate. But the way the car looks, again, I don't know how I made it up here and finished in the top 3, but I'll take it, and it's certainly a good, strong run for me.
Is it just the way the car is made, Chris, that's causing these cars to just break loose off the corner that we're still trying to figure out with these new next-gen cars to maybe kind of defend the fact of you wrecking, leading the race, or was it aero push, or was it a mistake on your part?
All year long, it's been a struggle for me. It's been a rough year. These cars have been hard to figure out. Being a fixed setup, we're kind of all on the same baseline with a few little changes we can do with the steering ratio or with the pinion and the front and brake, master cylinder brakes and all that. But it's just been a struggle. I've experienced a lot of looseness at various tracks, a lot of heavy right front tire wear, and at a certain point you just can't drive the car anymore. At least I can't, and it's hard to believe that some of these guys can. But it's a learning curve for us all, and we've had several updates along the way that have kind of changed some things. And I think moving forward, though, it'll all figure itself out. But again, solid run for me.
All right, Chris, we'll holler at you later, man. Thank your sponsors. Obviously, I see you donning pink on the car for Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Can you tell us a little bit about that? And, of course, all the other sponsors you have for a solid podium here tonight at Vegas.
Yeah, I put a breast cancer scheme on the car this week in support of Breast Cancer Awareness Month, being October. Kind of looked at a few and found United Breast Cancer Foundation online and thought I'd go with them, and then that's what you're seeing on the car. Very good. I read up a little bit about them. They're a good charitable organization. They empower women and men, both, that are affected by breast cancer, and through their support and education, they hope to provide relief and hope to thousands that are suffering all over the country. So shout out to those who are in the fight. Stay in the fight. Don't give up. And certainly got to thank you guys, LSRTV, for the broadcast every week. Fantastic stuff all year long. Sucks the season's coming to an end soon, but you guys keep pushing at it. Got to thank Jeff and Sean, everybody that's a part of the Northwest Racing Series. Such a long year, a lot of work goes into it. And CWR, of course, W, and can't forget Willie's Addictive Barbecue. He's still out there cooking some good food, so check him out. Appreciate it, guys. We'll see you probably next week.
3rd place tonight for the defending Northwest Cup Series champion of last year, who won here to lock up the title at Vegas. Chris White tonight, 3rd on the podium. Here we go down to 2nd place, 2020 Series champion. He missed the playoffs also in position number 9 in the round of 12. And again, a solid runner-up finish for the driver, though, the number 46, 2 wins this year. Puyallup, Washington, 2020 champion, now from Tucson, Arizona, Sean Brightsman. Sean, your take of this race? Pretty wild one here at Vegas. It had any and everything. When does it go to you wanting to win the race, obviously on your own, but then you try to help out your teammate, or at least help cover for him to try to see what he can do at the end to see a teammate win? And obviously you've got to be ecstatic to see your teammate, Dan West Jr., be racing for the championship in 3 weeks or 4 weeks at Homestead now.
Yeah, I mean, first off, what an up and down race! Holy moly, we had some green
Yeah.
flag, we had some 20-lap runs, we had some green white checkers, we had some big wrecks. I mean, what a up and down night. A lot of different strategies out there. The Brights Boutique Toyota Camry was pretty fast on the long run. That's what we needed. Not terribly fast on the short run, but ultimately, helping the teammates and everything. That kind of starts, all the way up pretty much till halfway and. Or the last third, really, So if I can get them a bonus point or, 2 or something like that, get them a lap lead and then, relinquish the lead or whatever, I'll try to help them out as much as possible. But as far as giving them wins, that's never going to happen. There's a chance that both of us would have ended up on the record there on the last 2 laps, but I just couldn't do it with too many cautions there at the end.
I was going to ask this question to Chris White, and I guess I can, but I can also ask it to you to answer it on the reply, because I have a feeling it's going to be all in the same. Does the mentality change driving differently, racing differently when you're not racing for a championship?
I would say a little. I'm still out there to race for wins. I'm out there to race as hard as I can and grab the win, and if I can, win out and let these playoff drivers, settle for second. So as far as winning and all that, it's the same, but it's a little different when I'm racing my teammates. I need to be a little bit more extra room. I don't need to take them out of the playoffs for no reason. So even racing hard, if it's for a win, it's a different story, but racing for 5th or 10th or whatever, it won't make any sense to hurt our points night.
Well, Sean, we'll let you go, man. Good, solid run for you. Second place tonight. And obviously, we'll let you thank your sponsors. And like you said, pretty wild race tonight at Las Vegas. It definitely did not disappoint to open up the round of 8.
Yeah, great night. Just got to thank Brights Boutique. Got to thank Central Welding Supply, Blenders, Swag Golf, Northwest Racing Series, everybody here at the Northwest Racing Series, admin groups, our whole broadcast team at LSRTV. Looking forward to the rest of the season. Thank you, guys.
2020 Series champion Sean Brightsman will be settling here for the number 2 spot here tonight when it's all said and done at Las Vegas. Let's go to Victory Lane now. His teammate, and he'll pick up his 3rd win this year. He won, of course, earlier in the year at Richmond. He wins at Pocono. And, of course, back of the summer, and now Victory Lane win number 3 for the driver of the number 55 out of Shelton, Washington, Dan West Jr., and even more fitting for you, in addition to that, you not only running for a truck championship to try to go for a 3-peat, 2-year defending champion, you have also now already punched yourself in with this win tonight, Dan, to the championship 4 at Homestead in 4 weeks. No matter what happens, what does it mean to know that you're going to be representing Team LSRTV CRM with a chance to win the title in the Cup Series?
I feel pretty fortunate. This is such a tough league. As everybody says, it's these wins are so hard to come by. So yeah, it feels pretty good to carry that flag for LSRTV, and we still got Jeff we want to get into. So we've got a lot of work to do as a team, and we still got the truck side to work on. But the stress for me, obviously, now I get to go and run against 3 more cars.
Got to make you feel good to know that whatever happens next week at Talladega, Dover, Phoenix, whatever goes wrong, whatever happens, whatever, if you decide to take off a week, you know you're going to race for a championship.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, it definitely is a sigh of relief. I mean, I'm not going to take any time off because I've got teammates out there that we got to help, get to the front. And plus, we're at the end of the season, right? You just don't stop now. You stay on that loud pedal and keep going.
Dan, can you give us a description of what you thought of the race tonight? Obviously, your teammate Sean Brightsman said, and I quote, that this was a roller coaster of emotion. It had it all. Green flag runs, short sprints, cautions, chaos, mayhem. Had to finish the race under yellow flag after 2 overtime attempts. And I will say this as well to segue to your response. Those last 2 restarts you had in the overtime were probably the best you had to have in the entire race, no doubt.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to say about the race. I mean, you can go back and look at so many different scenarios. I felt like there were different tire strategies, but I felt like Sean, Jeff, and I were, I think we were setting a really good pace in the beginning, and I felt like it was kind of playing out the way we wanted. But then the caution started falling. Then you play that game of, do you get tires, save tires? It's a tough gamble, and then I don't know, halfway through the race, then I made that huge mistake, spun the car, ended up having to go to the back of the pack. So yeah, it was a major up and down roller coaster. I mean, these cars they're just so tough to drive. I mean, there's a really fine knife's edge, if you will. It's like Chris was saying, it's embarrassing to spin a car out, but when you're running against these guys, you're running on such an edge that these cars are kind of numb. So when they do get sideways, it's just really tough to feel it before it gets there, right? I mean, it's just really hard. And like I say, it's embarrassing.
Hey, listen, I got one more question for you. I want you to segue this also into thanking your sponsors, and we'll go ahead and get off the air here at Vegas. You were the only car in the top 10 beside Lake Peterson, who has obviously been one of the big three dominators all year, that were playoff contenders. What can you say about the undying spirit, if you will, of these non-playoff driver contenders that are just hungry, looking for a win, and definitely giving you some serious competition as you're trying to win yourself for a championship?
Well, there's a lot of luck that goes into that, into this racing. I mean, there's just so much strategy, and what you think's going to work doesn't always work. So, as far as those guys trying to, get to the front and get these wins, I feel fortunate that I end up doing it. So, next week can be totally different.
Well, go ahead and thank your sponsors, buddy. Congratulations to you, Dan.
I appreciate it, buddy. I'd like to thank LSRTV, CRN, Northwest Racing Series, Effective Web Solutions, and my teammates. They're the ones that keep me coming here and keep going. There's nights when I just don't even want to get on here just because I'm tired from a long day, right? But, you got good people here to get on and have fun with and race with. So appreciate all you guys, and thank you very much.
His third win this year, the most important of them all, as tonight at Las Vegas, Shelton Washington's Dan West Jr. will now be one of the 4 drivers in 4 weeks to race towards the prestigious 2022 Northwest Racing Series Cup crown. Next week, it's on to Talladega. We'll have it for you on iRacing on LSRTV and the Community Radio Network. Of course, archives of this race will be up in just a bit. And again, a phenomenal job going to Dan West Jr. Lake Peterson now falls to number 2 in the point standings with tonight's win by Dan West Jr. unofficially in the points. Brian Barnes up 3 spots now for 3rd. Cole Raz will fall 4th. Caden Anderson, Briar Reynolds, Jeff Stab now one of the teammates of Dan West Jr. And, of course, Kevin Smith is now unofficially the way it is for the championship round of 8. It's on to Talladega. It should be a good one. We hope Justin Prince will get to feeling better. Not able to be with us tonight under the weather. And, of course, it's always fun working with Georgia's Terry Radford. I'm Wesley Outland. Thanks again to Rocket Media Live Sim Racing coverage on the Community Radio Network as well. For Charles Wooten, Jeff Stab, now everybody for the Northwest Racing Series, congratulations again to Dan West Jr. Winner tonight at Las Vegas. We'll see you next week at Talladega.